Hello, boys and girls. Today's book is titled The Berenstain Bears Don't Pollute, well, anymore. And Papa's carrying a banner titled Save the Earth. And this one is written by the original Stan and Jan Berenstain. And I love Sister Bear's slogan on her bag. It says, "Every litter bit hurts," which means every little bit of litter hurts. So this is The Berenstain Bears Don't Pollute Anymore. When Bear Country's cubs learn pollution's a fact, they help grown-ups learn to clean up their act. Uh-oh, look at the police officer there. "Well, looky here," said Papa Bear as he opened the evening news. "Your friend Professor Actual Factuals got his picture in the newspaper." "Oh," said brother and sister, coming to see. "There's a big story too," said Papa, "and a headline." "My goodness," said Mama Bear, "what's it all about?" "Leading scientist claims Bear Country is in serious trouble," Papa said, reading the headline. "What sort of trouble, Papa?" asked Sister. Papa, who was reading the story to himself, didn't answer. "What sort of trouble?" said Mama, repeating Sister's question. "Oh, you know how professors are," he said. "Actual Factual's making a big fuss about pollution." "Well, I know how Professor Actual Factual is," said Mama, "and I think he's quite sensible." "So do I," said Sister. "Me too," agreed brother. "Oh, he's a great guy, all right," said Papa. "He's dug up some terrific dinosaur bones and he runs himself a great museum. But I happen to think he's gone a little overboard on this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, you see," he continued. "I just don't think a couple of candy wrappers here and a drinking cup along the side of the road is really the end of the world, do you?" "Besides, Bear Country is in great shape. Come on, I'll show you." And he opened the door and led the family out onto the front stoop. "You see, Bear Country is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes, and the streams. And just look at that sunset." "It's beautiful, all right," agreed brother. "But our science book says that some of these colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't even be there." "Oh, piffle," said Papa. "Say, aren't you two supposed to be doing homework?" Sister, who had just about completed her homework, finished quickly. But Brother Bear was stuck. Teacher Bob had asked him to do a report on an endangered species. The books he had taken out of the school library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape Bear Country was in wasn't as simple as Papa made it seem. How Bear Country looked depended on your point of view. It looked fine from the Bear family's front stoop. It looked even better if you had it were a huge bird's-eye view while flying high above the earth. But if you were a squirrel with a squirrel eye view, you were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were being cut down. Bear Country didn't look so fine to you. If you had a duck's eye view, you might think that the professor was right about pollution. And if you had a fish's eye view, you might think things were downright awful. Look at the pollution inside the lake. The next day, brother decided to visit the museum and ask Professor Actual Factual for help with his endangered species report. So Sister Bear went along with him. Professor Actual Factual was usually cheerful and friendly and bubbling over with ideas and projects when the cubs visited. But this time, he looked worried and glum. He cheered up a bit when he saw them, but when Brother told him the report about the endangered species and asked for help, he said something very surprising. "I'll tell you exactly what endangered species you should do your report on." And he pointed at himself and said, "Us." "We don't understand," they said. "Oh, it's very simple," explained the professor. "We bears and all other creatures need certain things just to survive. Clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. If we don't do something about pollution, we're all going to become endangered species." "Come on," he said. "You'll understand soon enough." And he led them out to where the actual factual mobile was parked. It was a special kind of van with all kinds of scientific gear in it. Then the professor took brother and sister on a bear country tour that they would soon not forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage, where they saw oil leaking into the stream, getting on a duck, and killing some of the fish. They went past the old box factory, where they saw ugly black smoke pouring up into the air. They scuba dived into Great Bear Lake, where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs and worse. They saw a poor fish tangled in a plastic soda can holder. They cut it loose, but they couldn't rescue all the fish from all the plastic holders that were carelessly thrown away. They drove through the forest and saw that a great many trees had been cut down and that not many new trees had been planted to replace them. "You might speak to your dad about that," said the professor. "He and his fellow woods bears could help with that problem." "I think I see what you mean about becoming an endangered species," said brother when they got back to the museum. "Yes," agreed sister, "but what are we going to do about it?" "Did that evening news story do much good?" asked brother. "Not much," said the professor. "The idea that bear country is in serious trouble because of pollution seems like a pretty hard point to get across." "To grown-ups, maybe," said sister, "but we understand, and all of our cub friends will too, because we're the ones who have to live on a messed up, polluted earth when we grow up." And that is so true. That's why it's all of your responsibilities, because you guys are going to be the ones that are living here. "Professor," said brother, "how does this sound? You come to our school and explain all about pollution to the cubs of bear country. Maybe we can do something about it." Actual Factual was impressed. "I'll give Teacher Bob a call right away and arrange it," he said. And that's just what happened. The cubs were all eyes and ears as Actual Factual told them all about the trouble bear country was in. First, he taught them 3 important new words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means all the creatures, the plants, and the earth itself working together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things of the earth, like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some old valuable things over and over again. The cubs learned quite a lot from Actual Factual, and they had some ideas of their own as well. "How about a recycling program?" suggested one cub. "Yeah, maybe for newspapers to start," added another. "Then, if it works for cans and bottles too," Tim Honeypot said. He talked to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remembered Grizzly Gus's garage. "You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil into the streams and kill the fish, either," he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief of police, said, "I'll talk to my dad. If there isn't a law against it, there ought to be." Even Too Tall helped with an idea. My uncle owns the super duper market. He could put a big bag return plan in place for using and reusing bags. That's an excellent suggestion, said the professor. And if some folks don't want to cooperate, added Too Tall, me and my gang'll lean on 'em a little. Oh, the bag idea return is fine, Too Tall, said Teacher Bob. No leaning. He's a tough guy. Cousin Freddie had the best idea of all. Let's start a club to stop pollution. We'll call it the Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers, have cleanup drives and marches and parades. But there was still the problem of Papa and his fellow woods bears. That evening, brother and sister told Mama and Papa about the Earth Savers Club and their plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed, and Papa was too. As I said before, I'm just as much against pollution as the next fellow. But when the Cubs asked to be sure that he and his fellow woods bears plant a new tree every time they cut one down, well, he got a little grumpy. Humph, he grumped. It's hard enough to cut down trees without having to plant a new one. Besides, what's all this fuss about? They're just trees. Oh, my dear, said Papa, the Cubs are right. The forest is a living thing, and it deserves our respect. Papa was about to say piffle, but he thought better of it. The problem of conserving the forest must have been on his mind because that night, Papa had a dream. In the dream, he was walking toward the forest to cut wood when the trees began to sway and wave their branches at him. Then the branches turned into reaching, grasping arms, and then the trees climbed out of the earth on their roots and chased Papa. Oh my goodness, look at this. Help, cried terrified Papa in his sleep. The trees, they're after me. And he woke up in a cold sweat. Having a nightmare? Asked Mama. It must have been something I ate, he asked. Or something you heard, perhaps, she said. About trees? Oh, piffle, he said, and turned over to try and go back to sleep, but it wasn't easy. The Cubs didn't expect to solve all of Bear Country's pollution problems, but the Earth Savers Club made a very good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the Cubs got a big parade. Brother and sister marched at the head with Professor Actual Factual. Cubs for clean lakes and streams. Be aware. Be a conservation bear. Recycle now. Help save trees. Be a super duper bag returner. Every little litter bit helps. And Papa even has a sign. Look at this. It says, a good woods bear plants a tree for every single one he cuts. No ifs, no ands, no babies, or buts. There were many grown-ups in the parade too, including Papa Bear, who carried a sign, and it did not say, piffle. The end. Thank you for joining me, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed the book. See you next time.